If you're on a highway, you're gonna go speed. Just step aside or you might end up in a heap.
Man, when I was a kid, there was nothing better than Saturday mornings. School's over for the week, you grab yourself a bowl of some sugary cereal. Mine was usually Cap'n Crunch or Sugar Smacks. And you plop yourself down in front of your black and white TV, color if you were lucky, to watch your favorite cartoons. I was already watching those great prime-time cartoons at night after I finished my homework. There were the Flintstones, their futuristic counterparts, the Jetsons, and that great adventure cartoon, Johnny Quest. But nothing compared to those hours spent on Saturday mornings. I'd get up early, sneak down the steps, and flick on that magic box. There was no such thing as having a TV in my own room in those days, and even the set in the living room had to be messed with just to get a good picture. No cable in my house, just a pair of rabbit ears that you had to jiggle to fix that snowy picture. And you had to plop yourself right in front of the set, too. I didn't have a 75-inch LCD with 4K and a remote control on my iPhone. Oh no, my remote control was my hand turning the dial. Now, there weren't just cartoons on Saturday morning. That's where I first discovered George Reeves' Superman, and probably where my lifelong love of comic books started. And also there was the Lone Ranger and of course Roy Rogers. I hadn't seen any of the Roadrunner theatrical cartoons at the time and wasn't even aware of their existence. Since I was born in 1954, I never got to see the shorts that were released in theaters before 1963. Created by animated storyman Michael Maltese in 1948 and introduced by legendary animator Chuck Jones in the 1949 short cartoon Fast and Furry-ous, the Roadrunner and Wile E. Coyote cartoon was meant as a one-off. They only planned to do just the one cartoon and had no plans for another. The plans changed, of course, when audience reaction was overwhelmingly positive to the pairing of the Coyote and his rival, the Roadrunner. They quickly became two of the cartoon world's most beloved enemies. With director Chuck Jones, Michael Maltese would then go on to pen a total of 16 Roadrunner cartoons, cementing the Roadrunner and Coyote in the historical annals of the cartoon world. In each epic adventure, the always hungry Coyote attempts to catch the Roadrunner for his dinner by using ridiculously complicated contraptions that completely backfire on him. Only on a very few rare occasions does the clever and devious Coyote get close enough to the Roadrunner to catch him for a moment. Most of the parts for his inventions are bought by mail order from the fictional Acme Corporation. Besides tinkering with gadgets, the Coyote is also seen to be a skilled artist, capable of swiftly painting convincing reproductions of tunnels and roadside scenes in an effort to catch the Roadrunner. He would place a huge canvas on the road overlooking a huge drop, and then paint a road on the canvas, so the Roadrunner would run off the cliff and fall to his death. Dinner for the Coyote! Not so fast, though. The Roadrunner speeds directly into the painting and straight down the fake road. Coyote scratches his head, walks out into the road, and is run over by a truck coming from behind the painting. Then the Coyote runs into the painting and falls off the cliff. Comic genius. When they were working on the first Roadrunner cartoon, they didn't plan to have any dialogue. But layout and background artist Paul Gillian just happened to walk out of the animation room after he had scrubbed his background boards, and everyone was rushing to go home. So he wouldn't bump into anyone, he kept saying beep beep. Creator Mike Maltese heard Paul doing this and thought it would be a great idea for the Roadrunner to say beep beep whenever he confronted the Coyote. So Mike told Chuck Jones the idea, and Chuck said, "Let's get Paul in the room and record him saying beep beep." They sped the tape up, put it into the cartoon, and it is his recording of the Speedy Bird that is still heard to this day. Paul, unfortunately, though, was never credited or paid for his contribution. Jones once stated that the cartoon's success was that they stayed with a basic set of rules. When they created a new episode, they wanted the viewer to have equal sympathy for both the speedy Roadrunner and the hapless Coyote, and that the Roadrunner could humiliate but would never harm the downtrodden Coyote directly. There was also a no dialogue ever rule, except for the Roadrunner saying beep beep. Jones said that the cartoons were meant to be a parody of the conventional cat and mouse cartoons like MGM's Tom and Jerry. Prior to his first appearance in the Fast and Furious cartoon, the Coyote was referred to in an early model shot as Don Coyote, which was a play on the famous novel Don Quixote. Robert Gribroch designed the realistic desert landscape in the first 3 Roadrunner cartoons, Fast and Furious in 1949, Beep Beep in 1952, and Going Going Gosh also in 1952. The landscape in most later cartoons was designed by Maurice Noble and was way more abstract looking. After Jack Warner closed the Warner Brothers Animation Studio in 1963, the original Chuck Jones Productions came to an end. Jones' final Wile E. Coyote Roadrunner short, War and Pieces, was released in mid-1964. By then, David DePatie and director Fritz Freleng had created DePatie Freleng Enterprises and had moved into the Warner building that had just been vacated. They had secured a license with Warner Brothers to make and distribute their cartoons. This marked the end of the quality and attention to detail that permeated the original 16 shorts, which were directed by Chuck Jones, as Jones and the rest of his animation crew were all terminated. The music was also of much poorer quality, and the animation was very cheap looking, as they cut down on the number of frames between shots in order to save money.
Meep, meep. Meep, meep.
That brings us up to 1966, when the Roadrunner show debuted on CBS, where it aired for 2 years, showing the previously filmed theatrical shorts. After that, it merged with the Bugs Bunny show and became the Bugs Bunny Roadrunner show until finally ending its CBS run in 1985, when it switched over to ABC until the year 2000.
The Bugs Bunny Roadrunner Show.
It was in this time period that the cartoons were highly edited because they were supposedly too violent for children. Scenes integral to the story were cut, including scenes where Wile E. Coyote lands at the bottom of the canyon after falling off a cliff, or where a boulder or anvil is supposed to land on his head. Also, scenes where a character's face were burnt or black were removed because it resembled blackface and they thought it would offend some people. The unedited versions were not aired again until the Cartoon Network picked them up in the late 90s and early 2000s. The people who wanted these edits believed that cartoon violence was somehow having a negative effect on children, as if kids couldn't tell the difference between cartoon violence and real violence. What do you guys think? Leave your thoughts in the comments below. Now, the Roadrunner and Coyote characters remain popular to this day and have appeared in many different shows and commercials throughout the years. They've been in Tiny Toon Adventures, Animaniacs, and as toddlers in Baby Looney Tunes. They were also in Chuck Jones' 1979 movie, The Bugs Bunny Roadrunner Movie, and had cameo appearances in Who Framed Roger Rabbit. And let's not forget the Plymouth Roadrunner, a popular muscle car that used the Roadrunner and Coyote's likenesses and had a horn that simulated the Roadrunner's beep beep. Pretty good for a relatively unknown little bird and a ragged-looking coyote. I don't know where this pair is headed in the future, but I know one thing. You can't plan this kind of success story, and it's lasted for 74 years so far, and it continues to gain new viewers to this day. And so, in the immortal words of the Roadrunner,
Meep, meep.
did you love the Roadrunner cartoons as much as I did? Tell me about your favorite one, and let me know your thoughts and opinions in the comments below. And as always, this is Rich from Rerun Zone, signing off.
Meep, meep, meep.